With this new body, your husband is mine, sis.
When between two sisters, one is showered with love and affection, while the other is treated like an afterthought, jealousy takes root and resentment grows. This is what happened between me and my sister. She did a BBL just to take my husband, and everything that followed changed our lives forever. But before I tell you exactly what happened, please like and subscribe. Also, comment where you're watching from. I want to know how far this wild story has reached. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video.
Abena hurt her knee when Efua was still a newborn. It wasn't serious, but it bled enough to scare her, and she limped into the room where their parents sat with the baby. "Mommy," Abena said, voice shaking, pointing at her knee. Her mother barely looked up. Her father didn't look at her at all. "Abena, can't you see your sister needs rest?" Abena watched them coo over Efua, then quietly turned away. That was how it had always been. Abena overlooked, Efua adored. Even their aunts joked that Abena was just a trial version, that their parents had finally gotten it right with Efua. Of course, all of this made Abena angry, even as a child. Efua was the calm one, Abena was the loud one. Efua was the pretty one, Abena was the one still growing into her features. That was how it was always framed. As much as Abena tried to fight it, she found herself hating her younger sister more than she hated the people who constantly compared them. Still, she never let it show. She knew better than to openly show hatred to the sister that her parents loved more. So she did what older sisters do. She protected Efua from bullies, shared her belongings with her, and swallowed her jealousy and carried it quietly. Efua helped matters as well because despite everything, she was gentle with Abena, always reminding her how much she loved her, always choosing her side in small, innocent ways. But sadly, that little assurance would not be enough. Soon, the hatred that Abena tried to bottle all those years would explode in a way that neither of them could have imagined.
As Abena and Efua grew older, their bond never fully broke, but it thinned. Then, when Abena was 27 and Efua was 24, tragedy struck. One day, they received the call. Their parents had died in a bus accident. The news shattered them, and they clung to each other until their bodies ached. Grief, however, did not pause reality. After the funeral, they faced life's pressure immediately. With their parents' rented home soon expiring and nothing of their own, they had to find a way to survive. Efua chose her path and committed to it: catering. Years beside their mother in the kitchen had taught her to cook dishes that tasted like home. At first, business was slow, but she stayed consistent and gradually her efforts paid off. Abena struggled. She tried everything: nails, lashes, hairdressing, even a mobile money stand, but nothing held her attention. Whenever work became difficult, she walked away. When the rent expired, Efua had enough money for a new home, and Abena didn't. But Efua wouldn't let her elder sister live on the streets. "Abena, I have enough money. Pack your bags. We're moving soon," she said, as if it were nothing. Abena didn't even have to worry about rent. Abena smiled and hugged her, but inside, something twisted. She was the elder sister, now depending on the younger one. She imagined the pity behind Efua's kindness, the quiet reminder that she had failed where her sister had succeeded. The resentment deepened, and something was coming that would finally push Abena over the edge.
It all began when Efua landed her biggest catering job yet, an end-of-year party for a major oil firm. When the confirmation message came in, she screamed and danced around the kitchen. Almost immediately, her thoughts went to Abena. Her sister still had no steady work, and although Efua didn't mind carrying the household, she knew Abena's pride was being gnawed by idleness. She found Abena sitting quietly and smiled. "Sis, I just got a big job. I'm catering the oil firm's party." Abena's eyes flickered with jealousy, but she nodded. "That's cool." Efua added gently, "I was thinking you could come with me. We can work together. It's a big event, a great chance to network." Abena's face tightened. Was this pity? A reminder that Efua was doing better? She waved her off. "I'm fine. I don't want to go anywhere." Efua hesitated, then nodded. Okay. The event was chaos. Guests arrived non-stop, others piled up, and Efua barely had a moment to breathe. Praise for the food flowed. People asked who cooked it, requested cards, and inquired about future bookings. In the middle of it all, she turned too quickly and collided with someone. She looked up, frozen. The man before her was quietly handsome, with kind eyes and an easy smile. "Sorry," he said. "I wasn't looking where I was going." "It's fine," Efua replied, flustered. They introduced themselves. His name was Kofi. Somehow, he stayed, helping her carry trays, moving tables, and checking on her when she felt overwhelmed. Later, she learned he was a senior executive at the company, a surprise that made him even more impressive. By the end of the night, they had exchanged numbers. When she got home, Abena was awake. Efua's excitement spilled out immediately. She told her about the chaos, the compliments, and the new opportunities. Abena listened with little interest until Efua added softly, "And I met a man." That caught her attention. "A man?" Abena asked sharply. "Yes, Kofi. He's a senior executive." Something in Abena snapped. "So why did you leave me at home? Why didn't you insist I come?" Efua blinked. "But I did ask. You said you didn't want to go." Abena muttered under her breath, realizing she had no answer, then straightened. "You meet a man in one night and think he's the one? Don't be foolish. I'm older than you. I know how these things go. That man probably wants to sleep with you and dump you. Be wise." Efua's excitement dimmed. Her sister's words cut deeper than she expected, yet she assumed Abena was trying to look out for her. "Thanks, sis," she said softly. "I'm going to bed." She retreated to her room, holding both doubts and hopes, unaware that this small moment was already setting something dangerous in motion. Later that night, with Efua fast asleep, Abena crept into her room. She picked up Efua's phone, searched for Kofi, and found him immediately. Steady hands blocked the number, deleted it, and returned the phone to its place. Stepping out, she muttered under her breath, low and sharp, "That little brat thinks she's going to find a rich man before me. She wishes." Days passed. Efua found herself thinking about Kofi more than she wanted. She waited for a call or message, but nothing came. Eventually, she tried calling him herself, only to find his number gone. She searched again and again, growing frustrated and confused. It didn't make sense. She had saved it. Shrugging, she blamed a phone glitch. Maybe they weren't meant to be. But fate had other plans. A few days later, while stepping out to buy ingredients, she ran straight into him. Kofi laughed warmly. "Ah, stranger, how are you?" F1 raised an eyebrow. "I'm the stranger. You're the one who never called." His smile faltered into confusion. He explained that he had tried, but it seemed his number had been blocked. F1 recounted her attempts and the vanished number. Both stared at each other baffled before shrugging it off as a strange glitch. Kofi handed her his new number. This time, F1 didn't let fear, doubt, or her sister's warnings hold her back. She opened herself to him. Kofi was kind, intentional, and serious in a way she had never experienced. Weeks turned into months, and their relationship blossomed naturally. Abena watched from the sidelines, her resentment simmering behind a controlled exterior. Then one day, Efua returned home glowing. Her eyes shone, her smile wide. "He proposed," she announced. Abena forced a tight, brittle smile. "I'm happy for you," she said, even as something inside her cracked. The wedding was the talk of Accra. It was opulent, beautiful, and meticulously planned. Kofi spared no expense, and throughout the ceremony, his love for Efua was unmistakable. Guests watched in awe as the couple exchanged vows, marveling at how perfectly matched they seemed. All except one. Abena, the maid of honor, stood beside her sister with a practiced smile. her heart burning with jealousy and rage. Efua had found a husband before her, and not just any husband, but a wealthy one. The thought consumed her. If she had gone to that event, she would have met him first. She would have been the one in white, the one being adored. As the celebration continued around her, Abena made a quiet promise to herself. No matter what it took, she would take what she believed was hers. She would take Kofi.
A few months had passed since the wedding. While Efua and Kofi were navigating married life smoothly in Kofi's duplex mansion, settling into wealth and routine effortlessly, Abena remained behind in the small apartment she and her sister once shared, an apartment whose rent Efua still paid without complaint. From there, Abena watched, waited, and plotted how to bring their marriage down. For months, she had done her research. She had found the perfect clinic, crafted the perfect excuse, and waited patiently for the right moment. Now it was time to execute her plan. Abena spent weeks asking herself one question. What was the one thing she could have that Efua did not? Then it hit her. A BBL. A body reshaped, perfected, something undeniable. Something that would make her better than Efua. She convinced herself that no man, no matter how loyal, could resist a body enhanced by surgery. This, she believed, would be her ticket to Kofi. This would be how she finally took him for herself. The timing could not have been better. The clinic she had been researching for months, Kofi Girl Land in Lagos, Nigeria, announced a 30% discount on BBL procedures. Abena refused to let the opportunity pass her by. She calculated everything carefully: the surgery, flights, hotel stays, aftercare, recovery expenses. The total came to 38,000 cedis. Of course, she didn't have that kind of money. But she had a generous sister who had just married a wealthy oil tycoon and who had never learned how to say no to her. One afternoon, Abena picked up her phone and put on her best performance. When Efua answered, Abena's voice trembled, gasping as though she could barely breathe. "Efua, it's bad," she said shakily. "It's really bad." Efua panicked immediately. "Calm down, Abena. What happened? What's wrong?" "It's Dede. Her mother in the village is very sick, terminally ill. I need to go there and help take care of her, but we need money for surgery. Everyone is contributing, but it's not enough." Without hesitation, Efua offered to travel with her, to inform Kofi, to start packing immediately. Abena shut that down at once. No, she said quickly. "You don't need to come. I just need financial help." When she mentioned the amount, 40,000 cedis, she quietly added a little extra, already imagining new clothes, small luxuries, and a fresh start. There was a long pause on the other end of the call. Efua had the money, that wasn't the problem, but something about the request felt strange. Still, she brushed the feeling aside. This was her sister. What was the point of wealth if she couldn't help when it mattered? "Send the account details," Efua finally said. "I'll transfer it." Abena smiled so widely her cheeks hurt. "Thank you so much, sis. You're the best." Minutes later, the transfer came through. To cover any additional expenses, Abena took out a few loans from shady loan apps without a second thought. Then she packed her bags and booked her flight. BBL, here we come. The next day, Abena arrived in Lagos and went straight to Kofi Girl Land Clinic. The consultation felt like a formality. She had already researched the procedure thoroughly. The doctor examined her and nodded approvingly. "You have a good frame. The surgery will enhance you beautifully. Men won't be able to resist you." That was exactly what she wanted to hear. She paid the deposit that same day, and the surgery was scheduled for the following week. When the day finally arrived, Abena felt no guilt, hesitation, or remorse for lying to her sister and using her money to plan the seduction of her husband. In her twisted mind, she had already justified everything. Efua did not deserve Kofi. She did not deserve the mansion, the cars, and the life she was living. After years of being treated as less than, after growing up in Efua's shadow, Abena believed she was the one meant to win in the end. She told herself she wasn't stealing anything.
She was correcting life's mistakes. She lay on the operating table, convinced of her righteousness as the surgery began. When she woke up, pain tore through her body. Recovery was brutal. Massages that felt like torture, sleepless nights, the struggle of learning how to move again without collapsing. But she endured it all. Week by week, her body healed. After 8 weeks, she barely recognized her reflection. When the doctor finally confirmed that she had healed well enough, Abena booked her flight back to Ghana. It was time to take what she believed was hers.
The day Abena landed back in Ghana, she walked through the airport like she owned it. Heads turned, men slowed their steps. A few were bold enough to ask for her number. Abena smiled politely and declined every one of them. She hadn't gone through hell for this body for small fish. This body was for Kofi and Kofi alone. She stood at the pickup point, chin lifted, sunglasses on, until a familiar car pulled up. Efua stepped out, already smiling and opening her arms. Then she froze. The sister she remembered was gone. The woman standing in front of her had sculpted hips and a waist that curved like it had been drawn by hand. Efua cleared her throat. "Abena, welcome." Abena caught the shock in her voice and smiled wider. "Hey sis, how are you?" Efua hesitated, then blurted out, "I'm sorry, but I have to ask. What happened? Your body, it's so different." Abena laughed lightly. "Village life," she said easily. "After everything with the surgery for Didi's mom, I stayed back a bit. Ate well, rested, gym, massages. You know village food, it does wonders." Efua studied her, still unconvinced, but nodded. What reason did she have to doubt her sister? "Well," Efua said, "I actually have something important to tell you. Let's talk over dinner." Abena's smile sharpened. "Perfect. I have something to propose too." At the restaurant, Abena performed flawlessly, answering questions about Dede's mother, sighing at the right moments, thanking Efua again for the money. Efua smiled, relieved, even said she had been praying. Then she took a breath. "Abena, I'm pregnant." For a split second, the world went silent. Pregnant. Kofi had already put a child in her. Something cold twisted in Abena's chest, then settled into calculation. If anything, this made things easier. A pregnant wife would soon be tired, moody, heavy, and vulnerable. She stood up, plastered joy on her face, and hugged her sister tightly. "Oh my God, Abena, I'm so happy for you. Congratulations." Efua beamed. "I can't believe it. There's literally life growing inside me." Abena nodded along, barely listening. When Efua finished, she leaned forward. "Well, this actually makes my proposal make even more sense." Efua looked up. "Oh, what proposal?" "I think I should move in with you, at least for the pregnancy. You'll need help, someone close. Mom would have done it if she were still here." Efua's smile faded into something soft and sad, then nodded. "Of course, I'd love that. You've always taken care of me. I don't know how to repay you." Abena squeezed her hand. "That's what sisters are for." As they drove away, Efua suddenly brightened. "Oh, there's a small estate party tonight. Since you'll be staying with us, you should come." Abena hesitated until Efua added, "Kofi will be there too." Her interest sparked instantly. "In that case, sure. How is he?" The questions started coming, too many, too eager. Even Seth, the driver, frowned slightly as he listened. Why was Madame's sister so focused on her husband? "I'm sure he's even more handsome now," Abena added sweetly. "I can't wait to see him." Seth muttered, "Relax now." Both sisters turned. "Did you say something?" Efua asked. He straightened. "I said, we're here." The car pulled up to the estate, lights glowing, music floating in the air. Abena stepped out, smoothing her dress. It was time. The music from the estate party floated through the night air. Soft Afrobeats, laughter, the clinking of glasses. Lights strung across the compound glowed warmly, and well-dressed guests mingled in small groups. Efua's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and smiled. "That's Kofi," she said, reading the message aloud. "He says he's still at home, but he'll be here soon." Abena's smile twitched. "Oh," she said lightly, "he's not here yet." "No," Efua replied, then suddenly shivered. She wrapped her arms around herself. "Oh no, I forgot my sweater at home."
Before she could say anything else, Abena reacted instantly. "I'll get it," she said. "Let me go and pick it up for you. I can also say hi to Kofi, and then we'll come back together." Efua shook her head. No, it's fine. I can go by myself." "Absolutely not," Abena cut in, firm but smiling. "You're pregnant. You need all the rest you can get. Seth can drive me there and bring me back. Besides," she added sweetly, "I know exactly which sweater will match that outfit." Efua laughed, relieved. "You're a lifesaver, sis. Thank you." Seth drove Abena and the car stopped in front of the grand gates. Abena stepped inside the mansion slowly, taking it all in. The wide staircase, the polished floors, the quiet luxury that screamed money. This should have been mine, she thought. She climbed the stairs, then opened the bedroom door. Kofi was inside. He sat on the edge of the bed, mid-motion, his white button-down undone, muscles visible beneath his skin. He looked up, startled. For a moment, he didn't recognize her. "Abena," he said carefully, "welcome." She smiled and walked in, closing the door behind her. "Hi, Kofi." She sat beside him on the bed. "I'll be staying here for a while," she continued casually. "Efua's pregnant after all. I'll be helping her." His brows furrowed. "She didn't mention that." "We just discussed it," Abena replied smoothly. "That's probably why." He nodded slowly, then stood up. "Why are you here?" "Oh," she said, standing too. "I came to get a sweater for my sister. Do you know where she keeps them?" He pointed toward the wardrobe. As Abena reached for it, she purposely made the sweater slip from her fingers and fall to the floor. She bent down slowly, staying there seconds longer than necessary, making sure she saw exactly what she wanted him to see. When she straightened, she noticed his eyes on her. There was a look on them that she couldn't quite place, but she liked it. Kofi cleared his throat, picked up his jacket and turned away. "Well, I should finish getting ready." She smiled. "Efua said we should ride to the party together." He hesitated, then nodded. By the time they arrived back at the party, guests had already filled the space. Kofi scanned the crowd instinctively. "Where's Efua?" "She's fine," Abena interrupted quickly, slipping beside him. "Can you introduce me to some people? I'm new after all." He paused, then smiled politely. "Of course." From a distance, it looked like a harmless interaction. Efua spotted them across the lawn. "Oh," she said softly, "Kofi is already here." Her friend Abba standing beside her followed her gaze. "And who's that woman with him?" "My sister," Efua replied easily. Abba hummed. "If I were you, I wouldn't be too comfortable with that." Efua frowned. "Please, that's my sister. I trust her." Abba tilted her head. "Trusting your sister is one thing, but do you trust your husband not to be enticed?" Efua looked again. Kofi was smiling. Abena was laughing. They stood close, too close. It was small, but the seed had been planted. Across the lawn, Abena smiled to herself perfectly at ease by Kofi's side. Soon, she thought, this would be normal. She would make sure her sister was no longer part of the picture.
This is where part 1 ends. If you want to know how this story unfolds and whether Abena succeeds in snatching Kofi, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss part 2. We remain African Folktale Nation, bringing you the most intriguing stories.